Okay, I'm John Wells. I'm a wood turner of 40 years experience, 30 some odd years professionally. Today we're going to talk about spheres, and I don't really know why I'm doing this demo because these are ones that the other Wells brought, and pretty cool. He actually brought this demo up because he attended one by Christian Burchard at the last AAW symposium. So basically what I'm going to be talking about is how to do a free sphere like that. But I'm also going to show you a mathematical way that I used to use quite a lot in my architectural work. So I have here the end of a newel post, like the beginning post on a stairway. I want to think about it being like this long, which obviously wouldn't fit on this lathe. So I'm just going to turn the ball top on here and show you how that goes. It's a way of turning a sphere when you can't. These go on a chuck and you rotate them as you turn it on 3 axes. And you obviously can't do that when it's attached to something. And what I have up here, you need to lay off 2 different distances. Distance A is the diameter times 0.29275. Calculator helps a lot. And then distance B is the diameter times 1.0767. In the case of a 3.5 inch diameter ball, diameter obviously is 3.5. Distance A is 1.025, and distance B is 0.377. Digital calipers help a lot in figuring out those. And doing multiples in architectural stuff, this is the story stick for doing this. These 2 marks right here, or 4 marks, whatever, delineate where the, turn around this way, where the cove and the fillets will be, and the other mark at the top shows where the top of the sphere will be. And what you need is the end lines of the sphere to lay out from. You don't lay out from the center diameter line. So what you're doing is you mark off distance A from each corner. This will become more apparent when I do it. And then you cut that off and create a 45-degree angle. And do the same thing on the other edge. Okay. And once you've done that, then you lay off distance B from all of the corners that you've created. And you just cut those off straight from point D to point B, as it were. And that gets you very close to your sphere, and then you just round it off. And this is the story stick that I made. Basically, the width of this stick is distance B, and then these 2 little lines on here, you can see them, are distance A from the end. First step in this would be to lay out the finial. So this first fillet is in about 1/4 of an inch. Yeah. Okay, so now I have the ends of the sphere delineated, and I can okay, so to Martin's point, I can't lay out the distance down this end because that fillet is in the way. So I just have to eyeball it some. So I made this cute little 45-degree angle gauge here. And that's pretty close. And hopefully this isn't too far off. Pretty close. And I'm laying out distance B now.
John, what tool are you using there?
What?
What tool are you using there?
This is a spindle gouge, 9/16 spindle gouge. So what I'm trying to do now is create a straight line, basically, between the two lines that I've penciled on now. So now I cut that nub down about the distance from that corner that I created, distance B. So basically, now you have your sphere. All you have to do is I don't know. You have your ball top final.
Yeah.
This is the live center from my conover. It's a little more fussy to get attachment on. Now we are going to make, I am going to make, one of these little doodads. So I'll tell you in honesty, I've only done this 2 or 3 times in my career. So it's kind of a learning process for me too. These are marked 1, 2, and 3. This was the first one I did. It's actually quite. So this was number 2, and this was number 3, and it's actually pretty good. So as Christian says, this is Christian Burchard, who got relatively famous, and I think developed this process that I'm going to show. What he does is turn them wet, and then dry them, and then return them like a twice-turned bowl. I did these in wet wood. I hiked all over my property and found a recently down live oak, no, tan oak. Okay, so to do this, you need something like this on your tailstock to put pressure against it, and then you have a cup like this on your headstock.
John?
Yep.
Yep. Christian mentioned making that a in-grain bowl to keep it from warping and getting irregular. Is that essential in our climate?
It's probably essential in any climate. Yeah, doing it in grain is a good idea. It's going to be more stable that way. It'll also be harder. So the key to this process is, so you're going to hold the sphere in here like this. You want to turn it around, lay out your diameter, then you want to rotate it 90 degrees, turn again, getting close to that line but not take the line off. So that's your second axis, and then you rotate it 90 degrees. I don't know if I did that right.
No.
You will come to what should have been a slide in our presentation. This is, again, will impress the engineers. But, so you turn it the first time and you have this diameter. This is your first diameter. Then you rotate it 90 degrees and you turn it and you get your second diameter. Notice 2 lines for the second diameter. Okay. And then you're going to rotate it 90 degrees more and create your third axis. These 2 lines on the outside show where the number 2 diameter is now. It's going around this way. And now you're going to create your third diameter. This one doesn't have knots, it doesn't have the pith in it. None of them are supposed to have the pith in it.
This is greenwood, you said?
This is greenwood.
So would you expect when you're done that after it dries it should hold its shape?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Like I said, you have to return it. like a twice
They're
turned
rough
ball.
dirt.
All that thickness, imagine a lot of them crack. Is that right?
It could be. Yeah, Christian says that he loved that. He put them in the microwave or the oven or whatever and get them to crack and warm. I think some he probably finished without returning them. I had a bunch of pictures for my presentation of spheres that he's done. They're really cool with grooves and colored with ink, and some are hollowed. And I'll talk about those processes after I'm done with this. So these are a couple of his. He says he doesn't do these anymore. So these are in the archive stuff on his website. But you can see in the top one here, you can see the grooves go all the way around. Okay. In the bottom one, you can see that the grooves only go part way. So those are done off the central axis. And this bottom one, I think. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is turn the speed down to see what's what. Okay, so first thing you need to do is take this down to round. You can do that with a roughing gouge. Or, if all you bowl turners don't have a roughing gouge, you can do it with your bowl gouge. And get in.
Sorry, Denver.
Okay, so that's a pretty nice surface on there, not that that's totally crucial, but when I was roughing, I was cutting like on the side and close, just behind the tip, like that. Don't want to dig the whole wing in, it's just too much rotation. And then at the end, to get this nice surface, I tipped it up a little bit like that and did more of a shear cut. There's our first diameter. Stop, I say. It's just about exactly 3 inches. Of the sphere, as it were, and you can then take this down to beating and fogging, or you bowl turners can. Sorry, Kevin. what I'm doing now is I got the gouge all the way over on its side, and I'm using the wing to do a scraping cut. Actually, I'm going to lower this just a little bit. I'm trying to get very close to that center line. But not take it. This is a very simple cut, but you want to be careful not to turn it up too much, because then it grabs too much and it catches, hits. Okay, that's first step.
What kind of wood are you using there?
What is this attachment made out of? It's hard rock maple.
John, what speed are you turning at?
That's a good question. 1375.
John, do you have center lines marked on the cups?
No. I do not. So now I've rotated 90 degrees. You can see my other center line, which used to go this way. I've rotated 90 degrees. Now it's going this way. And I'm just going to put the ruler up here and kind of side along the ways.
If you use the bandsaw to cut out those knobs, please put a little vertical piece on the other side to support it, and not try to do it by hand.
Yeah, I know.
You can probably, you could actually take them down much smaller and knock them off with a hand saw. You'll notice here that there's a gap. Now this cup only meets the sphere here and here where my fingers are. And there's a gap on the other side. Eventually that will get better, and that's something you want to kind of do your best to balance those gaps on each side.
You can see the gap in this camera. That's the whole idea. You don't have to be precise, because if I keep rotating it, then it'll end up perfect.
This is true.
My place.
Or it keeps getting smaller.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you want to try and make sure that you don't take off those pencil lines.
Your fingers free.
All right, Kevin, get a little closer.
Boop. Anybody else smell that? I'm pretty sure there's a black line. Yeah, it's spun in the. So our nubs are gone, and our gaps are still pretty much, so we're done pretty good there. So now what you're doing is you're just trying to take off the shadow. Right? If you've done any eccentric turning or multi-axis turning, you know that you can see a shadow where there's not wood all the time. And that's what you're trying to take away here. Unfortunately, I don't have real good light here. So when you're doing this, you don't want to be pushing into the wood. You just want to be moving the gouge up there and letting the wood come around and taking away the part that you don't want. Lots of pressure on the tool rest. You don't want your gouge to be bouncing.
If you have two cups for the same size, that will make it easier to eyeball the shape.
Well, what would really make it easier to eyeball the shape would be if I had a lamp here and I could set it so I could see the shadow better.
But a good workman would never blame his tools.
I'm not blaming his tools, it's unfortunate that it's not here. If it was here, it would work fine, and I would use it expertly.
Light is not a tool.
The hell it's not. Okay, and looking at this here, I've got a space of about an inch where I'm not up close to diameter 1. So I'm going to go back and take a little more off. I want to try and get as close as I can to that line without taking it. Or I'll just screw the whole thing up.
One more cut.
This sounded worse. That's the light.
Too late, Kevin.
A little late now.
Better late than never.
is a rattling sound.
Time check.
I'm almost done. So there's our third diameter. So you can see we basically got a sphere at this point. And you would take it and I found that going through the centers about twice gets you pretty darn close. Yeah. Of course, you could start with dry wood and do this, and then you only have to do it once. It wouldn't be as much fun though. Couldn't shoot shavings all over Kevin. Other questions? Then I'm done.